is where we live. That is our comfort zone. Our comfort zone has become complete and total chaos.
Yeah.
We've talked about that. So when we try and get out of our comfort zone, it's complete and total chaos either way. So
yeah.
so we just live in it.
Yeah, might as well just jump from one hurricane to another storm.
And that already gets me to talking about the Blue Angels. We're going to do that because it feels like complete and total chaos, and it is the most organized thing in the world.
Yes,
but it is like
unbelievable.
Hair standing up. Holy shit! The whole time you're watching it. Welcome to episode 14. This is. We started last year at the end of the year. We had that break. We talked about it. We motivated ourselves, held ourselves accountable, said we're doing this, and this is 9 weeks in a row. And it's not easy at all. But I said total chaos. We just jumped. Are we doing it today? Yep, we're doing it today because we said we were. What are we doing? No clue.
You're saying this is 9 weeks in a row.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yes.
We've done it. We've committed. Sold our souls to the show.
And it's much like I talked about in the last one that I was holding myself accountable for getting up and being ready to go at 6 a.m.
How's that going?
Doing it.
How's that going?
It started on Tuesday, and it's been a week, and I'm doing it. Been doing it every day. Did it over the weekend.
ACL, no knee braces on.
Got in the pickleball, got in around the golf on top of all that stuff. Did it all early in the morning.
Now you're just overachieving.
So, yeah, now I'm overachieving. And again, we'll see how long I keep it going, but we got nice weather, no excuses. So
yeah,
I'm still doing it.
It has been nice.
And hey, hit me up. People are hitting me up. I got a couple videos from some people on their bicycles sent to the DMs. Got people inviting me out to do stuff. So it's working. So people are doing it. So let's keep it going. We got
put a lot of commitment on yourself now.
You can jump in at any time, and it holds me accountable. It gets you involved, and you're going to be getting involved soon. We'll talk about that.
Getting involved.
Well, let's start out with our cool down, our cocktail. We always want to have a cocktail for you guys, and we're not necessarily like telling you anything you don't know or you haven't had before, but maybe you haven't. It's new out here. It's new in certain areas. It's refreshing. But tell us about this that we use to make the drink. I'm going to let you take it.
Okay, so this was something that a good friend of mine that actually used to work with me, alongside of me, at a couple of places kind of through my livelihood here. He said, I have this really cool product. I'm going to order a couple to the restaurant. Check them out. Take them with you. I brought them here last Saturday, and we were both like, what is this? Casa Maestri. It's a very good Blanco tequila. You're wind up looking at like that $70 bottle range, but they're making these flasks. Pretty darn cool.
The flask is awesome. When you brought it over, I was like, oh, cool, a flask.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, it's full.
Yeah, so I figured
so you buy it full, which I've never heard of. So we popped it open and made a drink that I love that you make for me all the time.
Little ranch water action. Everyone's kind of heard of these.
Our boy Brent is he's a big ranch water guy.
I think we just drink the TQ's like our go-to nowadays. You know, a lot of vodka in our history and a lot of vodka to come.
Yes.
But I think where we're at, drinking the tequila, a little bit more refined. You find it everywhere. Number one selling spirit in San Diego for sure. It's a little bit, you got a heavy dose of some tequila here. It's almost like a skinny margarita. Think that version. We like to use the Tres Agaves margarita mix. He had some here.
Super clean.
Gives it a little bit of sweet level to it, but you're thinking like skinny marg, top it with a little Perrier, a little Topo Chico, some lime. And it winds up becoming a very easy, refreshing drink, especially as we get into the hot weather.
Cheers to that.
That's a good way to start the show. Yeah, I'm a big fan. Those things go down way too easy. But yeah, for anyone trying to watch their girlish figures, we're getting ready for pool season, and it's like a 80-calorie drink right there. So
dude, I'm working on my dad bod. But,
you're doing good, man. Like I said, no knee braces, no ankle braces yet. I'm just impressed to see that.
Yeah, I've had close
ice
calls
bags,
on both. I had
wraps.
Went down on the wrist the other day. We're doing it. Hey, pickleball's challenging. It's challenging.
I can't wait to check it
out. But hey, on that, I do want to talk about this. So we do have some moto people because my brother was one of the first guests on. So we do have a good little moto following here. A lot of people that are moto people, they saw this. And if you didn't see it, you've seen it on Instagram. You've seen it somewhere. I'm going to play this clip from this weekend. So it was the second outdoor national. We have Jet Lawrence in the 450, the big bike class, that turned professional last year, moved up to the 450s, and has never lost one moto ever. He went 24 races in a row. These are outdoor, extreme conditions, full speed, and they're going 30 minutes plus two laps on top of that. So it's brutal. And anything can happen, whether it's bike, crashing, all these things. And this guy has gotten through it. And This was round 2 of this year, so he's continuing going. He's chasing guys like Ricky Carmichael, James Stewart, so he was able to tie James Stewart with the 24. Goes into this race. In the first race, he comes out, and it's his brother Hunter, and they end up 1-2 coming out of the gate. He makes the move. He goes into first place, and as they're coming around in the first lap,
this is lap 1.
We'll show you what happens here, but he goes for this section that's a downhill triple that is, I think he was the only one that even attempted it. These are the things he does that sets him apart, and he should not have gone for it in the first lap. They always put heavy water down to get it going in the very, so that first lap or two is really, it's icy and slippery, and you got to be really careful. So what wasn't a great call, but then we go into the lights class, which is being dominated now by Hayden Deegan, the son of Brian Deegan, for those of you that are familiar with Metal Militia, any of that back in the day. So there's a huge family here, YouTube family. And so if you have or haven't heard of him, this kid is the, it's kind of like I compare it to wrestling a little bit. He's the bad guy that people either love him or hate him.
He's the villain.
He's coming out. He's a little bit of a villain, but he talks shit and then he backs the shit up too. So
how old is he?
I love that.
Young,
I
like
want to say he's 18. Yeah,
because he's got to be Deegan.
So yeah, 18, 19, right in there. But yeah, the young kids, and so they're out there. The hair's flowing. They have no fear. They hold it wide open. The kid's got all the skill in the world. He does things on a bike that again, the Jet Lawrence that we were just talking about versus a Hayden Deegan. It's a very different style of riding where one is just balls to the wall, go and just make it happen, and they figure it out because they're just so naturally talented. Both of them, but where Lawrence is very just smooth and kind of more like people are comparing him to my brother as far as his style of just very smooth and kind of lets the bike just kind of float under him, and different riding style, but same story. So this kid starts doing good at the very end of last year. He's coming in as a rookie. He comes into this year. He did great in the Supercross. He's backing everything up, and then he comes into this. He won the first 2 races. He won the 3rd race, and then he's coming out for race number 4, the second moto here, and comes around and he's got a nice. This is towards the end of the race, so he's kind of got it in the bag. This thing hits. He goes into a full helicopter action, but he lands almost on his feet and is immediately running to the bike the second he hits the ground. So the part of that was crazy, which he talked about. He's on the trampoline a lot, so he's used to that kind of rotation getting thrown around. They joked it looks like it's a commercial for the upcoming Olympics.
The way your body's not supposed to do that.
But anyway, the reason I want to do this, and if I'll put it on our Instagram. If you're watch this on YouTube, if you're listening to us on Spotify, because you want to see this clip, if you could care less about motocross, you have to see both these crashes. Both these guys got up and walked away. Deegan's, whose crash looked even worse, got up immediately and got back on the bike and didn't even really lose any positions. And Jet had a tough one. He didn't get any points in that first race. Raced the second one, but had some slight injuries. But these guys are still going, and that's
unbelievable.
It's
unbelievable. I would be
I'd
be in the hospital for a year.
Pretty crazy, but So that was nuts. And what I did over the weekend, I told you about this, and my wife too. We've been telling everybody the last couple of days. So. For anybody who's seen the Blue Angels documentary, they've just been promoting that. It's on Amazon Prime. So we threw it on. Blue Angels, we have a little bit of history. It's here at San Diego. They're based here in Miramar. So again, things we talk about that we take for granted are things like that are awesome. We got the Miramar Air Show, and this has been going on for years, as far as I know, before I ever moved out here. That I think I'd come out and gone to a couple of these with my brother. It was a big thing, and I remember back the first time we ever saw the Stealth and all these things. You're just blown away to see it in person. But the Blue Angels is just that tier, another level of like what they're doing, and if you know what the Blue Angels are, you know what they are. But understanding this behind the scenes documentary to understand how gnarly it is, everything that they go through, the training, what they have to do, and the perfection of not just the pilots, but every detail of the planes and how it's drawn out, and everyone that works within to make this happen, because it's a traveling show, and you don't really think about that. So we think about like, hey, we see it here, and we, whenever we're driving to San Diego or they're flying over the freeway, and again, you just kind of like, oh, look, Blue Angels, and you look up for a minute, but it's like we almost take it for granted because we get to see that, more than most people if they've ever seen them. What's crazy is to see this show that then goes on tour and loads up, for 8 months. They go on this tour, and it's just like we're talking about Supercross and football. They load this whole thing up, and when you think about how much equipment there is and what that takes and to get there, and what we were saying, it's weird because you're in the air and they have this pattern and they know what their show is and they train for and how close they get together. But the difference of training here in California and understanding when you're upside down in your surroundings with ocean and different the view and the landscape of everything that still allows you, when you're switching from city to city and now you're flying with skyscrapers next to you and everything is so different just in the footage of the movie that you're like, I'm lost and scared watching them. And that's the part you don't really think about is the different landscape that they get to get used to, that it's like, man, they can and do train with their eyes closed to do this, to really understand exactly where they're at. But it's mind-blowing. I mean, they get, when they're in that diamond formation that you see that is the famous, that they are all together, they start out at 18 inches apart. So the wingtips, it's overlapped. They know where a logo has to hit. And they know that if one person is off by an inch or two, that affects everybody because one guy is looking at another guy to line up his area. So if one guy's off, everything can get screwed up so bad that you've got a huge problem. And as it goes on and they get more and more and more comfortable each one, they get down to 12 inches and under at 400 miles an hour.
I was going to ask how fast they're going. 400
and it's just mind-blowing to watch. It's emotional during certain parts. It's mind-blowing what they do, the training, and it's crazy to think too, because I never really knew this, is they roll through this program, so it's always new people coming in and out from top to bottom, from the boss to everyone that goes completely. Plane number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they all have different roles of what they have to do and what they're in charge of and what they do for the next guy to react to, and all that works, and that's a constant rotation of rookies and veterans that have been there for a few years that are immediately on their last year and they're ready to go out, and then they're back to war. They're ready to go. You know.
So I was going to ask, these are all active military.
Yeah, so this is active military that's basically given the chance to kind of come in and perform and show what they can do and what we do and the ability of what we have, and it's just so it's amazing. So again, you know, anybody that's a Top Gun fan or any of that, this is at that level of just like makes the hair stand up. You're just like, man, there's a part where they go through the G-force training at the very beginning to even get to the point to you're in and we're going to now start working. And that G-force training, like my wife couldn't even watch it. She was like,
she was done.
She had so much anxiety watching them in this thing, trying to get through this test and push these Gs. And then the footage, that's the part out. Anything you watch, when you watch like Bear, you know, out on the wild with Bear Grylls, and it's like this guy that's out doing, I'm like, but what about the cameraman that's right next to him?
Yeah, that has to follow him, right?
That gets no credit, and he's got a bunch of cameras and shit that he's like this dude isn't alone. He's got somebody with him. Yeah. So and that guy never gets the credit. So the same with this, they do show one of the photographers that's a little bit different than obviously this crew they put together to film this. But the fact that they're able at those speeds with everything that they're doing to somehow document this
crazy,
as if you're in the plane with them because they have GoPros and stuff, but everything outside of that and how close they are and the speed and the slow motion to really see everything and like get the best idea of what that looks like, which you would never know, is unbelievable. So I suggest like one of the coolest things I've seen in years.
Like a multi-part series, or just
it's just one movie. Yeah,
quick and dirty one. All
good
right.
movie. It's about hour and a half, hour 40 minutes, and it is worth every second. And you know what? My favorite saying, I'm gonna be wearing a shirt next time you see me that it says "Glad to be here." That is their saying. That's what they do. That's what they
glad to be here. That's
glad to be here. That's it. And that's their motto. That's what they live by. And anytime they're getting in, they get it. The way that they get in the plane, everything is so just, you know, they don't use two hands to go up the ladder. They have to be, you know, at attention. They're going up. They grab the window, and it's all sequenced exactly so that 6 guys at a time that aren't looking at each other are all doing the exact same things. When they land and they come into park, they come in sideways. And they line them up perfectly, and there is nothing, if they show the overhead views, everything is so sequenced and perfect across the board at all times. Nothing is ever off. And I swear, if something is off by 2 inches, they talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, what happened?
They fest around, like, how did we miss that?
Yeah, how did that, you parked over there, what happened? You were off, like,
hold yourself to
no one can see that. It's a blade of grass. Yeah, that blade of grass could be a problem. So let's fix that. And that's never going to happen again.
Yeah,
you know,
what's the move?
It's just mind-blowing. But hey, I'm glad to be here right now.
I'm glad to be here.
I love that saying.
I'm glad
love that movie.
Gonna have to get some Blue Angel shirts. We're gonna have to rock those for the show.
Dude,
maybe we can get something.
It's just glad to be. It's think everything we've talked about on this show is being accepting of what we have, what we're going through, being blessed to, have opportunities and health and all these different things. So I love that glad to be here. To me is awesome. So another thing I thought was kind of funny is I was looking back at some of the other ones and some of the things people were laughing about. We were joking about, going to Wienertown and getting that late night.
Go to Wienertown.
That late
I think
night.
there was a little confusion there. I'm glad that we were able to clear that one up.
That chili all over.
The wrapper and
the wrapper.
we didn't think about this. Actually, we talked about this. So yeah, we didn't think about you working with Wienerschnitzel on a huge level. So tell. I don't even know how many people out here know about.
So
your
for
town
years,
of
this is what we talk about, and I'm sure these will be things of kind of why we do this show and why it's called Chasing the Cool. And there's things we talk about, sunglasses and glasses, and people will be asking. I'm like, God, you know what? I totally forgot. I spent years as a sunglass designer. So I can tell you everything about lenses and polycarbonate and frames and Italy versus Japan and all these things that you kind of forget until you're in a conversation with somebody about something like that, or you're fixing their glasses or complaining about, let me see those things. Like, how the hell did you do that? And I'm like, I did this for years. Yeah. So those types of things. So when you started talking about, even when it was over, I was kind of sitting there having my own little conversation in my head, but going like, wait, it's a conversation with myself. Not everyone knows this, but yes. Wienerschnitzel, my buddy J.R. Gallardi he is now the CEO of Wienerschnitzel, so family business. He's taken that over, and he's the man. He's out there. I mean, Wienerschnitzel, as you've said, man, you love it. So obviously they've done a great job with
I'm jealous
everything
of
they've
this
done
guy.
and keeping this around and having the branding and everything is amazing. But what I was always known for that was pretty funny years ago when I started working with them was I created the Wiener camo. So I was known as
Say that again. Hold on for the crowd.
The Wiener camo.
Wiener camo. You can't see my wiener.
Yes, the Wiener camo. So
my gosh,
the Wiener camo. Let's pull this up and take a look at it. So I would be doing one of the first things I did. They all, Toyota's a big sponsor in the action sports world. Wienerschnitzel really started getting this stuff into the action sports and kind of supporting X Games and Supercross and was part of a Supercross team. Through all that, they really pushed, the marketing of how their trucks looked and everything that they did. So
historically, it was just the Wienermobile. So
yes,
we would see it driving around town, big old Wiener, Oscar Mayer Wienermobile and Wienerschnitzel. And
yeah, so we started doing this, and basically I got in and did one of their first ever Toyota trucks, and kind of was trying to think. I was like, okay, you're thinking yellow, red. What's the color? What's the base going to be? And I came up with this Wiener camo by just taking a silhouette of a bunch of Wiener dogs and flipping them all on top of each other and creating a Wiener camo that just looks like a camo till you get up close to it, and then you actually see like, holy shit, there's little Wiener dogs in there.
Yeah.
So this thing we started putting this on everything. We had the big truck here, and had the Wieners on the truck.
Yeah.
Even did a McLaren for his mom that was wrapped in the Wiener camo, and then it was all like a candy apple red chrome. Like just unbelievable. So all these different panels had a different look, and then it's on a McLaren, so it's just like
clean.
So it's like Cannonball Run. I went with the old school with the 61 on the side. You're the established. So a lot of fun with this. The Sprinter vans, and did a NAS truck for Pastrana.
Yeah.
So same. We did the red Wiener camo on that, and helmets for X Games, and just on, a ton of stuff, and then was able to even get in and was helping them with merchandise. At that point, it's like, man, Wienerschnitzel's cool.
Yeah, I got the shirt. It was like world's most wanted Wiener.
Most wanted Wiener, yeah.
Dude,
and so that's Wiener Mania. Come on,
dude,
the
Hulk
right here.
I need some of this gear.
We got him in the background. So this is the whole. When we talk about what I do and what Chasing the Cool is, it's things like this that people wouldn't necessarily think of. That Wienerschnitzel as what you talked about it for Wienerschnitzel, where the marketing side of what they do and what certain companies do and going after X Games and athletes and trying to take that brand to another level of visibility, get a different demographic and kind of bring it to a younger audience now to introduce them what it is by getting these athletes and then having a guy, winning a gold medal wearing a shirt like this with Wienerschnitzel, but it's a cool shirt that's designed specifically for these guys that kids want to get their hands on. So that's the stuff that they would, a lot of these come to me. We did that baseball, put a little mustard on it, after it. So this is stuff I just have fun doing and having the ability to work with, to work with people like this and get involved in unique things that seem so far out of the box for me, but at the same time, it's exactly inside the box in what I do.
Yeah.
And it's really
Take
just
something
connecting
like a
and
Wienerschnitzel,
having fun with it. And, you know, last thing, what
make
was
it cool.
exciting for me, last thing I kind of did for them was putting together their uniforms and everything, and kind of telling a story about from management level on down. They had different outfits that they could wear. So they could pick from a couple outfits, and based on how they dressed, you would understand kind of level of where people sit, you know. So whether it was button-up shirts or colors or T-shirts or et cetera, kind of told you everything about what it was. But
Pretty
then
dope, dude.
the branding still stayed within, you know, the Wienerschnitzel vibe. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
just,
I've always been a fan since I was a kid, and they used to have, so in high school, they had these little wieners that would go, literally the hot dog with the face on it, it would go on your antenna. And it was like, you'd see people driving with them, and then we learned to cut a hole in them, and my best friend Sean, a childhood friend, he had like 8 of them. We would just go there, and you just stack them up in his freaking antenna.
and that's what I love. You got like this version, you know.
They've always been smart. They're the only
scared
hot
like that,
dog
going
place,
down the freeway on the antenna.
It's brilliant, right?
Yes.
Like, and it's like there's not a big competition. I try to tell people like, well, I've never been there. I'm like, do you like hot dogs? Because you can get a hot dog at some of these random places, a Dairy Queen dog or a Coney dog at Sonic. But when you go to Wienertown, you're there for any kind of hot dog. And it's been the same thing. Been the same. Everything consistent. I love
the beauty
it.
of it.
Seeing the coolness that they brought out and that they were willing to work with you.
And they're also the Tasty Freeze too. So
Yeah.
some people might know the Tasty Freeze.
Tasty
Yeah,
Freeze
that's all
partnered
part
up
of
with
it.
them
Yeah.
back when the Tasty Freezes were all closing down. Actually, all the Foster's Freezes and Tasty Freezes, and I remember being excited about that. But I mean, this is awesome. A lot of stuff I haven't seen. I've seen the truck. I saw Travis's truck and seen some of the stuff you've done. But
So there's another little
shout out to Wienertown. If you want a sponsorship, I will gladly. I'll eat
Yeah.
a hot dog every single
I
episode.
hit up JR. I'm like, I gotta get stock coupons for my guy here.
I'll go regardless, JR. I will be there spending my money at Wienerschnitzel as long as that place is open. They shape their buildings like these old like huts, like Swiss huts or whatever they are.
Yep.
The A-frame building, their nostalgia, the smell. Like I know when I'm even close to one. And the one here in Escondido's been there since I was since I was a baby. And just going to that same place. And fortunately, my mom was also into food that is enjoyable and is probably not good for you. But we grew up on hot dogs. I still eat hot dogs. So super pumped on that. Got to get some gear and start rocking it on the show.
We'll get it set up. But hey, while we are talking about food, let's keep it in the food lane. And I think we can connect this over to you a little bit. Let's turn the tables a little bit on this. Over the past few episodes or a little bit more, we've been talking a lot about me, changes I've had and things I'm doing and trying to kind of move forward. And you've kind of put out a lot of the feelings about where you're at in life and things you want to do and kind of getting stuck in it. Like, hey, this is where I'm at and I don't know if I'm happy there and this is what I'm trying to do. So as of late, there's been some changes that we haven't been talking about. You've wanted to wait till the time was right. So tell us a little bit about where you're at and what's going on with you, so we can kind of get the audience up to speed.
Sitting here with really sweaty hands. Don't know what to do with my hands. So I mean, obviously, people that are really close to me, everyone knows. I mean, everyone in the establishment I'm at right now knows. So for the last year and a half, especially, we've talked about mental health, and I'll just kind of start there. I remember hearing 6 years ago, Larry came to us. I was at my last restaurant, and he goes, "You got to see this place." And it was a newspaper ad. It was in there. It wasn't an ad, it was a newspaper article. He's like, "This place is coming to San Marcos. It's a brewery, entertainment center, playground." And I'm like, I just remember thinking back in like 2019, and the last place was going down, and I'm like, I really want to be a part of this, and I'm gonna figure out and inject myself. It was the first place where I'm like, I want to be there. Kind of fast forward, we talked about working kind of a dead-end job, got that job at My Yard Live. And the last 5 years, it'll be almost 5 years. It's pretty much 5 years to the day, I think the 7th, so 2 days from now. I've been there, came on during a construction trailer, was hired on. They were a little, to be honest, Jamie and Mark were almost like, I don't know, does he have too much? I'm going to hire this guy. I said, I'll bet on myself, and kind of took a lower entry-level job as like a bar manager lead. Quickly moved up. We navigated a pandemic. We opened July 2019. What a great time to open. We're shut down right before St. Patrick's Day.
And the place changed significantly over that time. It was almost a blessing in disguise, right? Don't you feel, from what it was to that having to kind of like it got shut down and reopen it back up and kind of spread it out a little bit, and like it was cool, but it was like crazy because it was so just. It was like chaos almost.
Yeah, I don't think
it was just
that
like shit.
They knew with the service model. So what we're talking is like service model, walk-up counters, walk-up bar, totally different service model. When you say service model, you go from full service, which is a server taking your order, to walk-up counters like a Rubio's. People, you get your order, you get a number. That's kind of where we're at. Silver linings of being shut down during the pandemic, where we had the ability to hit the pause button. I got reloaded kind of and re-injected into like, this is your go. Jamie and Mark, big shout outs again, just the trust and the respect. We relaunch, we're working, doing our own show called What Day Is It? Go back open, shut back down, go back open. And I think the silver linings in those moments were, I was so prideful, so proud, so happy, build a culture, build a team, and just do it naturally, make it through these hurdles. Where do we really want to be? Fast forward, we get 3 years in, 4 years in this last year, we finally start to see those numbers post-pandemic. We survived together, build the culture, continue to build the team, change the service model, change the steps in how we do things. But this last year and a half for me has been the hardest I've ever had in my life. And it could be age, and it could be just being in this industry for 27 years.
Yeah, definitely a combination.
I had a conversation about a year and a half ago with them and kind of let them know, like I cried and I was like, man, I'm going through it right now. They're very, very attentive. Try to make some things to make it a lot easier for me while still being responsible and upholding my responsibilities. This last year, the demands of what the job is versus the demands you put on yourself, we can put it into golf retrospect of like the game itself was already so demanding, but also if you show up and you don't hit the practice range and your swing's off and you're hungover, like you're already creating more demands than the game already expects. And there's a lot of times where I was doing that to myself as well, just being a doer, not delegating. We had a leadership scheme that was kind of more vertical, to Jamie's point. About a month and a half ago, when I wasn't looking, I already had plans to have a conversation with them about, I want to see my family. I want to be off on nights and weekends. We're driving separately to vacations. I'm missing your parties and birthdays and networking and my daughter's ability to play softball and being selfish and not getting her in there, and have this in-depth conversation. Along that way, some good acquaintances that have been coming in for a couple of years now to My Yard Live, they had a sauce company, a brilliant sauce company called Bitchin' Sauce that they ran with their family. It was a family-run business. And they were telling me their story and how they have a new product line and a new sauce company coming, and they've been pushing that. And, it was very flattering at times. They'd be like, God, we wish we could hire you. Why don't you have your own place? Like, we would go, go in with you. We'd do that. And month and a half ago, they're like, come out and check out the place. And, we're looking to take this thing. It's called JeeSauce, JeeSauce. Y'all need JeeSauce.
Yes.
Heard about this product, started looking as far as I could into it. Met them, saw the facility, and they're like, we need a director of operations, and we'd love to give you the job. Gave me an offer. Had the conversation with them about where I'm at in life and where I've been for 27 years, and they gave me an offer. So at that point, this is 3.5 weeks ago, I wasn't expecting it. I go and have that conversation again with the owners of My Yard Live and my bosses and friends and forever friends. And the biggest take back is I said I'm going to decide on this job. A few days later, talking to you, talking to everyone around me, what I've been going through. Is it fair for them to have me there? I always promised I would never lead resentful, and I told them that a year and a half ago, and before it got there, and I ruined everything we built together, and I couldn't service them and the company. I decided that was where I was at, and I took the job. I'm on my last week at My Yard Live, full week. I'm going to stick around and help out. It's exciting. I'm going to go be the director of operations, which I'm still trying to figure out what that means.
Yes.
Monday to Fridays, some weekdays off here and there, and
I know you're not even able to describe what it really is because you're still trying to process if it's really...
It's a real deal, and I kind of waited.
Because the fact it's so different than what you're used to after all these years. So it's been how many years? that you've been in the same industry?
27. So 27 years. I've not one time in my whole life ever had nights and weekends. I've taken a weekend, I've taken a night, but I've never been on the same scheme of all my friends.
Right, exactly.
You
Yeah.
know?
So we know that. I mean, obviously from as much as we've known you and known Shawnee and all the impact of how that works. And again, over time, that's for whatever reasons, like you said, age or whatever it is, or your family and just how it impacts everybody. Those things catch up with you. So obviously, that's with anybody. I mean, we've talked about this in any profession and whatever your job is, and people that get locked into certain things forever because that's all they know. So even if they do leave a job, it's for a very similar job, and there's a burnout rate, obviously. You know, so I know so many people. Again, I think in that 40 to 50 years old that maybe that for a long time that. Hey, this is what they do. I know they've always done that. I don't know if they're at that same job, but they're at something similar to that. And then you'll catch up with them, 5 years later, and they went from working dentistry to like being at UPS.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what? It's like, oh, it's burnout. So it happens. People get burnt out, but for multiple reasons of the monotony of doing the same thing over and over and over and over, but also in a position like you were, hours availability, time with family, all that becomes like shit, man. Like,
Yeah, it becomes your family. So like the industry and the level we're at and the level of just this establishment is that if anyone's seen it or been there or looked it up, this is a monster. This is bigger and better and greater and badder than any place. There's a running joke. It's like there's a reason why there's one. Everyone's like, I had this idea too. I'm like, yeah. So did everybody. It has everything. I was talking to you a little bit before the show, and I've had so much time, and I'm still going to have so much time to sit here and go, like, what are you doing? The inner dialogues, you're going to fail. Like, what, I talking myself down. I couldn't get out of bed today. I'm still going through so much anxiety and those personal things that, I'm trying to wrap my head around this move, but your comfort zones, right? And I'm like thinking, it was my comfort zone to be in this industry and why I stuck around and I did it and be in that leadership role where you have 30 employees, everyone you're responsible for, whether they're a bartender or a dishwasher, and do they fall, was there an injury, anything that can happen, customers, so you have another 1,500 to 2,000 people a week that you're responsible for, their reviews, the nuts, the bolts, the screws, everything. It gets to a point, that's my comfort zone, but is it your comfort zone? Because you're highly uncomfortable in that scenario. Like, you get to a point where you're like, this is total chaos, I'm extremely uncomfortable, but if I make one false move, like the Blue Angels, I'm going to screw this up for everybody. And I need to know next time we touch down, I need to have this conversation with me, my family, within myself, with my family, my friends, and with the business, the owners and the partners and the people all there to come forward to say, I'm actually not in my comfort zone. I'm extremely uncomfortable, and this is affecting my life and my friends and my friendships and families and all that. They've been extremely understanding and supportive, and we're going to be friends in each other's lives for a long time.
It is. It's a family. It's a family establishment. Mark and Jamie are family. They're great people.
Forever.
We've again, as long as you've been there, I've been there. My family and my family's worked there. Two of my kids have worked there. We're there all the time. So when you say you live there, we live there too. We met tons of friends just like we did at your previous job at Vin's. Met so many of our friends that are our best friends today through that establishment there because of you. Then that rolled over to My Yard Live, that we've got a whole new different world and group of friends there, there all the time. So same, it's not like we're never going to My Yard Live again.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'll be there a lot. I'll get to have a beer with you.
And that's the exciting part. Like we've said, there's trivia nights and karaoke nights, and there's live music all the time. And you love to get up for karaoke night, but your food's a tray. Like, okay, I'm gonna sing country song. Okay, here's your drink. Okay, back. Yeah. So now it's like, hey, you can go there and like. You can kick it. We bring the dog. We're sitting there. You can get up and have some drinks. Hey, I'm like, you can sit there and look at the manager now and be like, really, look at this place.
Who's in charge of
who's running this place?
now?
Come on. No, but I think that's the challenging part for you. Obviously, is there is a comfort in the family of what it is, what you know, what you do every day. If even in the worst moment, it's still like, hey, this is what I do every day. I mean, we have our worst moments in our good lives we talk about. That's still like, hey, you got to deal with shit no matter what. But at a certain point, you also have to make changes in your life and do it. You have to at least try things different, and that's what you've never really done. I think what's unique in like for you, what you look at is the fact that this isn't something that you searched out. You know, you've talked about it a lot, but you weren't out there putting resumes out.
I don't have a resume.
And
I don't even have a resume that says My Yard Live on it.
And that's another thing.
Not even built a resume.
I had to do that. I had to do this every recent and go through. And that's where things like Wienerschnitzel and working, creating sunglasses and these things are like, I didn't forget, but I forgot because I've done so many things over different years and had phases that as you start to put a resume together, you're like, oh, I forgot about that.
Wow.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, look at this folder of design. You start looking at all these things, and then you're just sitting there going like, why am I making a resume? Like, why do I need to make a resume at this point in my life with what I've done to go? But you do because there's, again, an uncomfortable level of having to do things to get over a hump to, you know, something bad happened or something good happened, whatever it is, you're looking to move this way, make a change. You got to make that resume. You got to be uncomfortable. And the best part for you is without having to do that and without having to do any of the work and search. We know like our boy Turhan, for example, he's going through it right now, busting his ass, trying to create all this
find the right job.
And here it is, like, boom. So to me, as we've said a million times, everything happens for a reason. There is a reason that this happened. And the timing of when it happened. Yeah. And again, it was not something you were searching out. So that's, to me, what's more amazing about it. It's not even like you were out there behind the counter telling a bunch of people, hey, if you got anything, look at it. Hey, like, there was none of that. It just showed up because people are watching you and seeing the talent and the ability of what you can do, going, like I said, well, hey, if I have this, I wish I could get you over here. I've had the same things where that's why I had to tell my story as of late, because people assume I'm locked in at one place and what's going on. Yeah. So I need to come out and let people know, like, hey, for me to have a career and move forward and take care of my family, I need to let people know exactly.
Well, you might be going by a fishing hole that's full of fish that you don't even know. You know.
So the same, similar for you to where I think that's the coolest part about it is that something like this landed in your lap. As I told you the first day you told me, I'm like, you're going, this is crazy because it's these types of hours and these days and it's still this close. And I'm like, yeah, it sounds too good to be true, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's what's cool about it. But when you look at things like this, I always say when you go through these phases of like, it's too good to be true, well, you worked your ass off to get that opportunity that it might seem like this just happened overnight. This just, no, you've gone through hell or just busting your ass, whatever you want to call it, for ever how many years. Same with me. And when something good happens and it's presented like this is too good to be true, no, this is exactly what you maybe could have and should have had way over here, but you have it here now.
I have. You know? I've had every single person I've encountered, from strangers. I'm just talking to Danielle LeBlanc, who's running for city council. Vote for Danielle LeBlanc, San Marcos City Council. She's talking to a gentleman that I'd seen, never knew him, from a can of paint, and he goes, where are you going? And I told him, like, director of operations, not sure. He's like, I did that for decades. You'd be so good at it. I've seen you around here. You're going to be so good at it. Every single person from my employers currently to every customer, to every employee, to my best friends, to my family, every single person, there's been one person that said, what are you doing? You're not going to do well at this, and that's me. And that's the hardest part.
That's weird.
You're like not a single soul. I'm like waiting for like someone just confirm, like, to be like, maybe this is, you know, it's scary. It's the unknown, and it's like a 180 typically from what I'm doing. Some of the people I'm talking to are like the industry and even the industries you're in, obviously, and they're looking a lot in this last decade for like restaurant people because of the interactions and the cultures and the things you build in non-restaurant workplaces, especially in like operations, like bringing the people from hospitality to come create these cultures and interactions with people and building the team and those sorts of things. So super exciting. Everyone that's been in my life and the My Yard Live stuff, like, I'm not going to be a stranger. I'm going to be there. I'm still going to be there helping out a bit here over the next couple weeks around what I'm doing there. I refuse to let the place like completely, it's not going to fall apart. I'm not worried about that. I could leave a week ago, but I don't want to leave it the way I didn't build it or find it.
And you know that's not your style, just up and out. So that's cool to be able to get there, and everybody loves you, and it'll be a good thing. Just kind of have your foot in the door a little bit.
Sit
just
down
kind
and eat.
of pop in and eat, and like I said, make sure it's good. Make sure, like, do the little dust test. And like, come on, guys. What the hell?
I'm sure it's going to be better. I'm going to be better.
I leave for 1 week.
Of course, you guys made it better. Of course, now that's organized. Of course, now this system works out. Why is everyone doing so? Oh yeah, because
we said I was looking. I'm like, hey, where's the tapati? Oh, Ryan orders. How come we're out of ice?
The rocks in the fire pit. Why is that nut? Who does the wall paint? Ryan does
How come
that.
they used to play music here all the time? Who turns that on?
Yeah.
Ryan did. We don't have the passcode. Ryan does.
Yeah, Ryan does it. Given all the codes, given everything, like this week, these 3 weeks so far have been eye-opening. Every SOP, again, every document, everything that they pushed and wanted, now it all makes sense. And it's like, here's your catalog, here's the portfolio. We're going to be just fine. And, take that parachute and jump.
Love it.
It's scary.
Love it, man. Well,
Pray for me.
We're kind of going to do a quick show, but I feel like that's a great show that I had mine to kind of kick off this whole, for 9 episodes in a row.
You're going to have another one or two, I have a feeling.
I got more, but
You got more coming.
the point is to kind of have an opportunity to talk about you, what you've been doing, what you're going to be doing. Super awesome, and at the same time, and everything's just going to land in this guy's lap. I think when it rains, it pours now, because once again, we get to start Thursday watching Boston Celtics playing the NBA Finals again. So,
terrible.
Ryan's just getting
Terrible.
it, and Ryan just gets to.
I get to watch all the NFL games. I'm going to be
yeah,
off on the
sit
weekend. I'm like doing the math
back
in my head. Like, this is going to be total chaos.
Now the problem is you're going to have 37 fantasy leagues.
Yeah,
because you're going to be
it's
like,
true.
I have too much time on
Yeah.
my hands. I'm doing. Hey, you want to be
playing
in a
pickleball.
You want to be in a fantasy league? You want to be in another one? You want
Tear
to
an
start another
ACL,
one?
play some pickleball. Let's not do that. But check out Y'all Need JeeSauce. JeeSauce, JEE sauce. It is bomb. It's about to be the new coming of anything you know.
And
about
we will have these guys on very
Ryan
soon.
and Porter, awesome.
We'll definitely get on location for that episode, so we can we can go check the spot out and really learn the difference between what they did before to what they're doing now. The two products to me are like not even comparable. I think now it's so much better, and the improvements of what they've done. So it'll be cool to get the background on that, and
some funny social media stuff. Hopefully you can get involved too.
Yeah,
they're hilarious. These guys are, just check them out on Instagram. Check them out all over any social media platform.
Stoked. So yeah, super cool. So well, here we go. We're doing like I said, we got NBA coming up, and
NBA. What do you call? Okay, I want to know. I always ask. Dead honestly, and you're not going to hurt my feelings. Who wins it? What game?
I think the Celtics have to take it. I think it's just too. I think it's going to be good. I think we're going to. I would say 6, for sure 6, and just based on the NBA and as Paul Ritchie says, American sports, I think we might go 7. But I'm going to give it to the Celtics. I think they have to do it. I think there's too much riding on the fact that they got to deliver this time. They've been there, and like anything, as we say, the more you practice putting, the better you are at putting. The more you show up at your job, the more you wake up at 6 a.m. and train, you do that. So I think the Celtics have been there and been there and been there. So this is that.
Yeah,
there's that point that you finally get it. So I think that they have that opportunity that's plays into their favor. So
yeah, we need this one. We've been knocking on the door. Luke is young.
I don't think we're going to get the blowouts that we got in the East and West Championship Series. I think we're going to get games that come down to the wire. Every one. The teams I think are too evenly matched, and I think they're evenly matched and they're evenly mismatched in the sense that there's.
It's a great way to put it.
You can't. Who's going to guard these guys and who's going to guard these
2,
guys?
We have 5.
So,
they have 3. Yeah.
So that's gonna pan out and have a different way. But I think it's gonna at least be fun to watch, and that's what I look for at this point. When my team's doing it, I want good games. I want to see them come down to the end. I want to see it go to Game 7. I want it to go the distance. So I'm looking forward to that.
So does the league, like you said.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But hey,
scary hours.
Guess what? We're glad to be here. And he's
love you guys. I'm going for it.
There's a rough episode. He went straight to the flask for that one.
Come see me. Come hug me. We're gonna hang out. I think we're gonna have a going away party and blow the roof off that place. But episode 15 coming your way. We got to find out how we're gonna start shooting this because I'm gonna be working Monday, Tuesday. Well,
it's gonna be weird how we're gonna shoot this because he's gonna have so much time on his hands. He's not sure when we're gonna shoot it.
Still have the same amount of days off. I was doing the math, but I'm gonna be on your hours. Like, what time do I have to be there?
Yeah.
8 o'clock. I'm like, I don't even know what that's like. I get my best sleep at 8 o'clock in the morning.
That changes quick.
Scary.
He's going to be a new man. What's the saying? It's like 28 to 30 days. Like something becomes a habit. So that different all of a sudden, like a month and a half from now, you're going to be talking about getting up at 6 a.m.
Sunday night meal prep
for your treadmill run or your pickleball or your golf before you go to work. That's
No
gonna
more
be
free
crazy.
meals.
Yeah. Oh, hey, they'll sneak one. They'll sneak one in
gonna be
there.
good. Every once in a
Hey,
while.
we're gonna be hitting Kim on the side. Kim, come on, get us the discount.
Yeah, I need some shrimpy tacos. I hope that's
All right, guys. Thanks.
Love you guys. Don't forget, tell everybody. We're gonna have some fun episodes coming up.
We'll keep you updated, and we're gonna hit that little meme that says, "How many weeks in a row have you been doing this show?" And it goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right.
Peace. We love you guys.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.